Good evening, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to Nerdcamp Sports. I am one host, Mike Williams and Willa, and you got our other host, Raja Anthony Ali here. R&B will be joining us shortly. How you feeling tonight, my brother?
Man, I'm feeling great. It's been pretty exciting week of sports, so definitely look forward to talking about it, man.
All right. Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're gonna hop right into it. You know, last week, Thursday night, I'm sitting there. I had a long week at work, and I'm like, all right, it's time to watch my Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, it was pretty hard to watch. They
Yeah.
really, they really, and it's funny because I've said countless times that you can never underestimate a division opponent. I don't
Right.
care if they got 2 wins. I don't care if they got no wins. Division's division. And we beat the Ravens. So we were on a high horse, and I just had that feeling that we were going to let down. Because now you would have won 2 games ahead of the Ravens. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Now you've left them in that realm. I personally think the Ravens lose tonight. But that's a little hopeful as much as it is a reality. I think the
Yeah.
coaches are more of the talk than the teams.
Yeah, the hardball. It's
you know,
crazy.
but what were your thoughts on the Steelers' loss, and what does this mean for the quarterback competition, and more importantly, the quarterback competition in Cleveland? Because Cleveland says they want one. Jameis Winston's looking like he's pouring some kind of life into this dead season. But
Right.
obviously they need something.
Yeah. Well, first to start with the situation with the with the Steelers losing that Thursday night crazy game. Um, I don't know. I don't know like how it even happened because I was at work at the time, but I was kind of like watching Amazon on my phone, but not
Right.
really paying attention. So 1 minute it was like clear, no snow, no issues, no nothing. Then I believe in the second or third quarter, it started snowing, and I'm like, where the hell did the snow come from? And it was like a lot of snow. So I
Yeah.
kind of figured there was going to be some type of buffoonery, some type of trick jobs and stuff like that because in the snow, we know that certain games they just don't pan out the way you plan it. So it was a pretty tight game up till I believe the third or fourth quarter, and then all of a sudden, I guess Mike Tomlin just felt like bringing in, your guy, Justin Fields,
Justin
and I'm
Fields.
like, yeah, and I'm like, hold on a second, time out. Where did Wilson go? Russ was just cooking. He was just right there. And then all of a sudden he switched him out. And then of course it was a run play that went nowhere. And that kind of like tumbled the whole entire momentum of the team, in my opinion. Um, and to be quite honest, I believe they gotta stick to the plan. Regardless if it's like injuries or whatever. If it's an injury, it's a little bit different. But if it's like you're trying to use him as a gadget quarterback, don't do that. Because it's actually killing his confidence as a starting quarterback. And I can tell that that whole situation threw the team off. But then also there was some miracle plays, and Jameis Winston turned into like a 2009, the 2010 Eli Manning out of nowhere. Like he was out there just hustling, and I'm like, oh my goodness, But it was kind of weird. It was a weird situation. The game was super weird. Um, and as far as the quarterback situation in Cleveland, I think Jameis Winston's a bridge quarterback at best. He's not somebody I see as a franchise quarterback. And he's actually, sidebar, he's really cringeworthy too. Like, I just can't stand his interviews. So,
Oh yeah. Well, I think a couple things. The Steelers went for it on fourth down 3 times and didn't convert once. That was the
yeah,
first problem. And I believe that those fourth downs turned into at least 10 points.
right.
Um, That's problem first and foremost. Problem number one, and second thing was the defense was tired. It was a short week.
Yeah,
Um, and they were really tired and needed more from the offense. They started getting it together and took the lead late in the game, but the defense wasn't holding. So
right.
now I'm Mike Tomlin or the offensive coordinator. I'm like, okay, what's going to get this to hold? What's going to get this to get to where we need to go?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the issue lied, right?
Yeah,
Is that they needed to figure out how to be the most effective, and they could not do that. And now you're looking at a team, and they're still 8-3. You know,
yeah,
obviously they're still, like I said, they were due for a loss, and I knew it. But
right.
now go to a team who's starting to figure it out next week in Cincinnati, and you say to yourself, okay, now that was the game that was winnable, right? Now on
Mm-hmm.
paper, Cincinnati's very winnable, but in reality, once again, division game, bad blood,
Yeah,
going to be a tough one. You needed that Cleveland game.
yeah,
Now, especially if the Chargers gift us tonight and beat the Ravens, that Cleveland, that Cincy game is now much more important
right.
because now you can solidify yourself and you really separate from the Ravens. So that's especially considering you got a week, the week before Christmas, whatever week that is. We play the Ravens on a short week. It's messed up.
Yeah,
It's Philly in Philly on Sunday, and then it's Baltimore in
mm-hmm.
Baltimore on Saturday, and then turn around and play Kansas City at home on Christmas Day.
Right.
So they just really need to figure out what their play is, in my opinion.
Yeah. I totally agree. And that's the thing. It's like when it comes down to it, you got to win the games you can win. Because if you're focusing on winning a division, you have to win those winnable games. And that was a winnable game. Unfortunately, like I said, it snowed, and of course, it's being a short week. And playing on Thursday is chronic, really chronic to the defense. But there's still no excuses. You got to figure it
Right.
out. You gotta either go ahead and score a whole bunch in the beginning to kind of give the defense a rest, or you have to hold them. You can't allow this team to sneak back and then, of course, win a game like that. Like it was just crazy. Like I said, and I don't even know who to like compare Jameis Winston to, but he was doing some stuff I've never seen before. I've never seen him do. He was breaking tackles, he was throwing. It was crazy. It was really a weird game, and I'm glad that it ended up being the game that ended up like the score ended up being fairly close, but not that bad. And the defense, of course, on their end, on Cleveland side, they stepped up. You know, so it was a weird game, but it showed a lot. It showed a lot of potential for the games to come. So hopefully, you guys get the next game. It's Cincinnati next, right?
Cincinnati, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully, you guys get that game because that will help a lot. And if the Ravens lose tonight, then you guys are in at least pretty good shape, at least in my opinion.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So now I want to move over to the Washington Commanders.
Hmm.
About a month ago, this team was 7-2.
Yeah,
3 weeks ago, actually, and now they're 7-5. And now we're looking at a team that looked like a powerhouse in their division, who could now possibly be having us say at the end of this one the same old Commanders,
yeah,
because that loss to Dallas, that was bad.
yeah.
You really Dallas shouldn't be winning any games. Like, Dallas shouldn't be winning any games. So
Right.
for them to step in there and to pretty much just knock them off, it's a problem.
Yeah.
It's a problem. I mean, this was just hard to digest, let alone watch. But
Hmm.
what is your thoughts? Because we know what is going to happen with Dallas. But what's this mean for the Commanders? Because obviously now Philly is in clear control of the division.
Yeah.
They're pretty much going to win it at this point,
Hmm.
barring any injuries or you know horrific setbacks.
Hmm.
But what does this mean for Washington? Can they recover? Because this isn't looking good right now.
Well, as far as Washington goes, they're a few years ahead. Like we got to look at this thing for what it is. Um, Jaden Daniels is brand new. He's a rookie. He's still learning the system. He's still trying to figure everything out. The game speed of pros versus college. What's going on, R&B?
What up, though?
All right. Um,
Maintain.
and I feel like he's going to have those type of games, those clunker games where he's going to mess up because that's normal for a rookie. But also keep in mind he's coming back from a rib injury, and a lot of people are downplaying it, saying, "Oh, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad." Listen, it's hard for you to breathe when you have a rib injury. Sometimes, depending on
It's
how severe
hard for
it
you to
is.
throw too,
Yeah,
because any which and way you turn with the ball, you're
yeah,
gonna feel it no matter what side it's on. Especially if you got to stretch, to the opposite
exactly.
side, you're gonna feel a rib injury.
Yeah, oh, no doubt. And that's what I'm saying. So there's a lot that plays into that injury, but they're like I said, the team, the organization, they're downplaying it, making it seem like it's really not a big deal. But to lose against the Dallas Cowboys, it is a big deal. 34-26. I feel like making it seem like it's really not a big deal.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know if it's an echo.
no,
Um,
no, I was opening it up on my phone. I was just
oh,
trying.
okay.
It came up. You're good.
But yeah, but losing against Dallas is a big deal, especially with Dallas being without their star quarterback, and then on top of that, like you guys were just on a roll not too long ago. So now looking at the division to kind of wrap my take up, to look at the division now they're like what 3 games behind or 2.5 games behind Philly for taking the NFC East. But Philly's on a roll. They won 7 in a row. So it just seems like it's just poised for them to go out and just win this division. So, but I will say, in the grand scheme of things, I'm proud of the Commanders. I feel like this is a learning lesson, and they're going to be great next season. I'm looking forward to it.
Oop. All right, all right. R&B, what were your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the
Breaking news.
What
oh,
you got?
I heard one of y'all phone go off.
Yeah, who
oh no,
that wasn't one.
that was just ESPN talk
Oh, okay.
fantasy. Nothing
Okay.
crazy.
Oh, okay.
What were
Got
your
you. Got you.
Oh, okay, I got you.
what are your thoughts on the the condition, so to speak, of the Commanders now that they've lost 3 in a row?
I'll be honest, man. I hate to say it. Feel like Jaden Daniels right now is letting the rookie of the year slip away. Bo Nix. Bo Nix is looking real good. Bo Nix has
Yeah,
19 touchdowns and I think 2 interceptions
yeah,
over the past, I think, like 6 to 7 weeks or something like that. He's been playing some damn good football. Uh, man, look, I understand he had the rib injury, but this the thing about it. I think since he's kind of been struggling recently, so has Washington, faltered. It'd be different if he was still looking like the same Jaden Daniels that we seen from the beginning of the year, but we just looking like, damn, like the defense ain't playing good or, whatever the case may be, and they just not getting it done. But I think that you can kind of couple together the drop off, that since he's been struggling more, the team has struggled. And with that being said, they're still a good team. They still have a bright future. I think they still gonna make the playoffs. I think they still gonna battle for one of those last two wild card spots. But overall, they've hit that. Maybe they kind of came out a little playing over their heads a little bit, and now they're kind of coming back down to reality. But like I said, I kind of hate to say it though because I like Jay and I wanted him to be that rookie of the year. But if they continue to struggle, he's gonna lose it to Bo Nix because Bo Nix has been balling.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with that, and it's scary because it looks like Bo Nix is getting better every single game.
Yeah,
I watched him yesterday. I'm
yeah,
like, who is this dude?
yeah.
Well, you look at it right now, the Commanders are in 7th place. So they're in that last wild card spot. You got a few teams who are on the cusp, the Cardinals, the Bucks, the Rams, and the 49ers are all the Cardinals are 6-5. The other 3 teams are 5-6. So
I
there's
think the Cowboys sneakily still in there too.
4-7, yeah, but you got the Saints at 4-7, the Bears.
I feel like out of those teams, out of those three, the Cowboys, Saints, and Bears, I feel like the Cowboys have the more favorite schedule. They got if I'm not mistaken, they got who they got on Thanksgiving. They got a beatable team on Thanksgiving,
I believe they got
Thursday.
what's the name? Don't they got? Oh no, they don't play them again. Uh, they got the Cowboys. I mean, they got the Giants.
There you go. So, and my God, like
That's a
talk
winnable
about
spot.
bad. So that's what I'm saying. So they can kind of be telling themselves, "Hey, we get this game Thursday against the Giants, which should be a bye week for us." Basically, we kind of right back in it mathematically there. So uh, I'm not a Cowboy apologist or fan or anything, but don't call them out. They
Nah,
might still be there in the end battling.
Yeah, but in the same breath, they got to pass. I think they got to overcome too much in order to get there. Mathematically, sure, but realistically, pack it up.
Nah.
Pack it up. Pack it up.
I
Give up.
feel you.
You got just give up. It's okay. There's no you're just beating a dead horse. So yesterday, something I seen was really bothersome. The Kansas City Chiefs survived the Panthers. They did not win. They didn't win. That was surviving. Because there's no way in hell that game should have been as close as it was. And with me utilizing the word surviving, that's a fearful situation to be in. Because
Right.
if they would have dropped this game, we're having another conversation.
hmm
We're having a different sort of conversation, and I'm just trying to find the information on that game yesterday because when I looked, Mahomes was looking like himself, kind of like the Mahomes that people are used to. Um,
I
they
can't really
played.
remember the stats 100%, but I think it was 30-27.
Yeah,
Yep, that was
the score.
that was the score. But
Yeah.
they had 331 yards. Um, the time of possession was pretty much split
Mhm.
32-27 favor of Kansas City. Just trying to find the stats here. I guess they don't like giving the actual stats
I
for the
mean, Patrick Mahomes was 27 for 37, 269 yards and 3 touchdowns, no interceptions.
so he played a
That's a
pretty clean
solid
game.
day.
You know, he
Yeah.
played a
Yeah,
pretty
it's
clean
better than
game.
these previous weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And you know, we're getting to that point of the season where the Chiefs are gonna start turning the tide. But if they're they lost to the Bills and they struggled to beat the Panthers. Should they, even at 10-1, be nervous moving forward and heading into the playoffs? Because, like, let's be honest, they should have beat the brakes. Like, I'm okay with them having 30 points, but the Panthers should have had like 6, not 27.
Real quick, I just want to just say, when it's all said and done, a win's a win. especially
Absolutely.
when, especially when you went back to back and winning the Super Bowl. Like those got they're tired, they're gassed, and a lot of the games they come down to like the last few minutes. But in all honesty, I believe they're going to be okay in the playoffs. I don't really think they're going to mess up in the playoffs as much as they did in the regular season. Now, I will say this: there's a little bit of concern on the defensive end because 27 points to the Panthers, crazy. Like giving up 27 points, that's never good. But if they can figure it out on both ends, offense and defense, I feel they can make a deep playoff run and potentially get back to the Super Bowl. I mean, I'm not saying they're going to win it because honestly, I feel like there's other teams out there that got a better chance, especially in the NFC. You got the Lions and you got the Eagles that I believe one of them are going to win the championship. I don't know who, but one of them is going to win they're going to win the Super Bowl. But as far as AFC, I'm not sure if a team can knock off the Chiefs, man. I mean, maybe potentially the Ravens, but that's a hard ask for a team like Patrick. I mean, for them to knock off Patrick Mahomes in a playoff situation. So
Especially considering that Lamar Jackson is 1-5 against the Chiefs for his career.
exactly, and that's the thing. And we talked about it last week. It's a whole different ball game during the regular season. Playoff season. So it's like you got to look at it for what it is. If they can win these games and get that bye week, they should be fine. So I don't really got a concern for the Chiefs, except of course the defense. They got to step it up.
Well, I I'm not gonna say that they deserve to step it down, but let's be honest, the defense has been what's carrying the Kansas City Chiefs since week 1. So I have to say that they're back to back games where they lost last week and then they give up 27 to Carolina this week. They were kind of due, they were kind of due for something, to happen bad on that side of the ball at some point. But again, I agree with Raj. I'm not really worried about the Chiefs because we've seen this story before. But I will throw one out there for y'all though. What about the guy who hasn't had a true shot yet? What about the
Who's
guy
that?
who hasn't had a shot yet? The
Who we
one who
talking
playing
about?
tonight, Mr. Herbert. Don't
Oh,
sleep
come
on those.
on! Don't do
Don't
that!
sleep on those Chargers. Don't
Don't do
sleep on those
that!
Chargers. Don't sleep on those Chargers. I'm just saying, don't sleep on those Chargers, man.
I
Justin
have a heart.
Herbert, Justin Herbert would be in that same conversation with Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow. If it wasn't for fucking, I don't even remember that bum ass coach's name that they fired, that they should have been fired
I know you're talking about.
three,
I
four
remember him.
seasons
Yeah,
ago.
yeah. His schemes were crazy.
He was
Um,
supposed to be this defensive guru, but you couldn't do nothing with Khalil Mack. And
yeah.
man, come on, man.
And
It
then
yeah.
didn't they have one of the Bosa's on the team?
Yeah. You
Well,
got a Bosa and Khalil Mack in your
Yeah,
defensive schemes is now Harbaugh is
yeah,
there, and now they're a top 7 defense.
yeah. That's
well
that's wrong.
here's the thing, and I looked at this the other day. The Chargers are allowing, I believe it said 16.3 points a
Fif-
game.
well, it was 15. It was 15.
Somewhere in
It
that realm.
was- yeah.
Yeah,
Second lowest average through this point in the season in NFL history. You know what number
Mhm.
1 is?
Who?
13.3. Jim Harbaugh, the year he brought the 49ers.
San Francisco. Yep.
So when you look at this, obviously, and we thought that this team wasn't going to do much. They gave everyone away. Everyone was gone. Adios.
Mm-hmm.
See ya. Right? And he comes in. You know, they got a rookie wide receiver. They took the Ravens running backs. They have Justin Herbert, and they're sitting there at 7-3. And now you got to really look at this and say they do have a chance. You know, their losses. Let's see if I can pull them up. I know they lost one game to Pittsburgh. I'm trying to figure out how their losses are because I don't remember. Chargers schedule.
But I just want to just say this.
The Chargers actually had a number 1 defense in the NFL right now for opponents' points per game this season at 14.5.
So they lost to the Steelers, they lost to the Chiefs, and they lost to the Cardinals. So at least they lost to 3 teams with winning records currently, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Cardinals have been kind of inconsistent. But you look at the points in which they allowed, right? 10, 3, 20 was a loss. 17 was a loss. 16, 15, 8, 10, 17. The biggest one was 27. So pretty much they are in every game. They may not be blowing everyone out, but they ain't getting blown out either. So when you look at this and you look at this Chiefs game in particular, 17-10 was the score.
All right.
They do have an opportunity.
Yeah. Well, I'm about to say one thing I say about it too is that you've already played the Chiefs now. And you lost, but you've already played them. So now you know what you up against, and now you know you can hang with them because they barely beat you. So then you get to the playoffs. Now it's a different story. You're not going in feeling like, you know, you going against the big brother. You going in feeling like, yeah, we can knock these motherfuckers off. We already hung with them. So this time, let's get them. You know, that's a different mind state to be in.
And then the other, go ahead, Raj.
I just wanted to say something real quick. But can we agree, guys, that Justin Herbert is like Sam Darnold when it comes down to situations? Like he does really, really good, and then he just disappears.
I totally disagree with that. Because during the time that Brandon Staley was the coach of the Chargers and the times that they did get to the playoffs, I seen Justin Herbert ball out and his defense not be able to stop not able to stop a fucking toilet up with 3 rows of tissue. Like, come on, man. We at what point do we actually look at the entirety of what's going on and not just, you know, straight to the quarterback? Like Justin Herbert's a beast, bro. He's been a beast since he first came in the league. It's just that horrible. That's just my opinion. I'm sorry, but I feel like that defense held him back. I feel like his head coach and his defense held him back for 3-4 years in a row, and now he finally has a head coach that is, you know, getting the best out of him and getting the best out of the defense and getting the best out of the team. Harbaugh's a program builder. Everywhere he goes, he builds successful programs.
And here's the thing, to that point, 2020, he threw 4,300 yards, 31-10. 2021, 5,000 yards, 38-15. 2022, 25-10, 4,700 yards. 2023, 3,100 yards, 20-7. This season, he's at so far 21-86, 13 touchdowns, 1 interception. So this season, he's having like an old school Aaron Rodgers season. Not a lot of turnovers, touchdowns, making smart decisions. You know, he's definitely in a position to to definitely be the guy, to definitely have a chance to win and, you know, maybe go to the big show. I mean, hey, I would accept the Chargers Lions Super Bowl. Why not? That would be fun to watch, I think. But
Hardball against Detroit.
exactly. Exactly. So we'll see how that goes for sure. But I want to talk about the Houston Texans
Hmm.
coming in coming into this season. They were a heavy favorite to kind of pick up where they left off in a sense. Excuse me. But now they're looking looking a little rough. And notice, they got Nico Collins back, Tank Dell's still there. Mixon was kind of held in check yesterday, but now it's 7-5 here in week 12. And the Colts at 5-7. I think they were like 7-2 or 6-2 at one point a couple weeks back. This team, I think, is in some trouble. And it just seems like, something's missing. Something just doesn't look right. Uh, I'm sure Stroud's been figured out to a degree, but what, in your guys' opinion, what is wrong in Houston? And will they still win their division?
Let me take this one.
Yeah, you go first. I'm still pulling up stats.
He's still trying to defend his Justin Herbert hate. Just face the facts, Raj. He's nice, but
no, I'm not saying he's not
go ahead.
nice. I just know I've seen games where he just completely folds, but it's fine. It's fine. Go ahead. Go ahead.
This is what I'll say about Houston. I'm not even going to be long because we kind of talked about this in the chat a little bit from what Raj had sent yesterday. I don't think there's really a problem in Houston. I think they just got a bad draw to the deck of cards. You went out and you got Stephon Diggs. You brought over Joe Mixon. You know what I'm saying? You went and tried to improve the defense a little bit on the defensive side of the ball. And in all honesty, you did what you were supposed to do when you have a rookie quarterback come in and play to the level that CJ Stroud played last year. You looked and you said, okay, we got it. Let's build. Let's build. Unfortunately, they built, and at the beginning of the season, from week one on, it just was crumbling down, injury after injury. You you can only really overcome, injuries so much. You know what I'm saying? You get what I'm trying to say? Every team just don't have that next man up. I know that's the thing that they always try to preach and make it seem like, that's what everybody try to be on. Like, oh, if somebody go down, next man up, we just keep it pushing. It don't always work like that. And just in my opinion, with the Texans this year, it hasn't worked. Next man up has not worked. They've had some key injuries. Nico Collins just got back. Stephon Diggs is gone for the season. I think Dale had went down for like a game or two.
Yeah, he was out for
So
like
it's
2 weeks.
just that's what I'm saying. So it's just that's your three top weapons. That you miss majority of the season without having all three of them on the field. And so and then you got injuries on the defensive side of the ball too. So I just feel like they just had a bad luck of the cards, man, a bad draw, and hopefully they can get it back on par for next season. I don't think they're going to pack it in because they're still, a playoff contender at this point. But I don't see anything in the future this season for the Texans. I think they'll probably maybe fall out of it or still go to the playoffs and get put out in the first round as a wild card. And then they'll try to get healthy and make a run at it again next year. But as far as like keying in on one particular problem that like, oh, it's a cancer in the locker room, or they're doing this wrong or they're doing that wrong. I don't see that. I think they just been hurt. Nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, I think I've always been a supporter of next man up, but I've also been the type of person to say, like you said, it don't always work. Like, let's be honest. Patrick Mahomes goes down, what happens? Right?
Yeah, it's pretty much a wrap.
You look at even like you take the Detroit Lions. One of those running backs goes down for a significant amount of time. What could happen? Because they definitely feed off one another, right? Like even
Well,
their relationship off the field, and what it transcends to the field. One of them goes down and misses some time, it's gonna hurt, right? So
if I can interject slightly real quick, last year David Montgomery did go down, and Gibbs was able to step up. So that's kind of a bad example because you're looking at two starting caliber running backs that's really sacrificing what they could be for one another for the greater good. But
I don't think
continue.
it's a bad example because now there's more chemistry between them, right? And they're both very utilized. How many games did
Mhm.
he miss? When I say significant, I mean like 8 or 9. Did he miss, 10, 12
I
games?
think if I'm not mistaken, I think he was out last year. I think he missed like 5, 6 games last year,
You
something
know,
like that.
Gibbs can, I'm not saying what you're saying is incorrect, but if you one of those guys goes down and they miss half the season, it's gonna become problematic.
Yeah, I agree
Miss,
with that.
like to a degree, but that's just the thing. Certain positions cannot you just can't have them go down. And I think for the Texans, it's just they just really haven't had all their players on the field. You know what they feel like to me? They feel like the Phoenix Suns of the NFL.
Mm.
Because
or
you
or or how about the Los Angeles Clippers?
to R&B's point, he said, right, that all three guys really haven't been on the field, right?
Yeah,
Well, what did we get last year with the Suns? What are we getting this year? All three guys aren't on the court. So it kind of
yeah,
transcends. But I just they could still make the playoffs. They'll probably, they could still win their division, but it's really in their
Yeah,
control. They got to win their games. Like that's what it comes
yeah,
down to.
yeah.
yeah.
I just want to say this.
Yeah, go
Um,
ahead. You're
you
up.
know, when I was talking to you guys a few weeks ago about um CJ Stroud sophomore slump, right? Of course, like you guys mentioned, injuries with the wide receivers and the other players and stuff like that, they do play a significant role. But let me just point something out real quick. Can you believe that Will Levis outplayed CJ Stroud yesterday? Now, injuries, no injuries, I understand and I get it. But you know what I seen on First Take this morning? I witnessed CJ Stroud pull a Dan Orlowski and run out of bounds. That is crazy. That is crazy. I'm like, I don't know if it's getting to him or if it's pressure, but he's not playing like he was playing last season. And that's what I meant about the sophomore slump. That the confidence isn't there, the swag isn't there. That extra whatever it is. Will Levis is one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL right now. He was 18 for 24. That's a 75% passing rate, and also 278 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. That's a QBR of 127. Now, as far as CJ Stroud, 20 for 33, 60%, 247 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. And that whatever the hell it was, him doing a Dan Orlowski stepping outside. out of bounds and causing it to be a safety and giving the points to the Titans. So my point is this: something got to give. I want to see him be who he was before he played Chicago, because he was confident when they played up against the Bears. I don't know what happened after that, but he fell off the face of the earth when it comes down to his confidence. So that's what I mean about the fall off, the sophomore slump. It's just not there like it was before. Even like I said, even with the Chicago game when you spoke to Caleb Williams, and he was like, "Why are you talking to me? You're basically a rookie yourself." You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those type of things where I want to see him be confident again. I want to see him win. I think this team is super talented, and if you got Nico Collins, you should be able to close out and win this game. I don't care what the points are. You figure it out. Run game, throw it, whatever you got to do. Figure out a way to win.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for Houston, we'll see what they do, what they can put together to right the ship. Because definitely they need to figure out what's going on down there.
Yeah.
So the Jets were on a bye this week,
Thank God.
but didn't stop them from crossing my
Oh,
news.
they made the news. Yeah.
Them and the Giants made the news a lot this week. I think the Giants were off too, weren't they?
No, they played. They might as well
No,
have
they
been off.
played.
Oh yeah, they lost. Yeah, they lost 30-7. Who I forget who they
Tommy,
played.
Tommy, Tommy Coldcuts came and played.
They
Tommy
played the
Cole.
Bucks.
So there's been speculation.
Are
that the
y'all okay
Jets,
over there?
huh?
I've been wondering. I've been wanting to ask y'all that. Are y'all okay
No,
over in New York? I heard it's
no.
like a big funk cloud over the whole city, stinking up the whole city of New York from y'all football teams.
Coming from New Jersey all the way over to New York.
I mean, it really is right
I'm not.
there.
I'm
Like,
not okay. I'll go into it once y'all speak. I'll go into my rant. But go ahead.
but
Oh, it's bad.
the Jets didn't play. But there's been speculation that they're going to cut Aaron Rodgers. Other speculation that he doesn't want to play there next season. And there's also been speculation of him being shut down and that he's avoiding testing to be shut down. And everyone was so happy about Aaron Rodgers, and this has just been a completely failed experiment. Unfortunately, like I think we would have been having if he didn't get hurt last year, because that's a contributing factor. He's not the same. That's a hard injury to come back from. But what should the Jets do with Aaron Rodgers? Honestly.
You go ahead, R&B. I got a long soliloquy when I go.
I'm honestly, man, I really don't know. I really don't know what the hell they should do with him. To be honest with you, like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know if you know. I mean, you already got Woody Johnson. It's rumored that he claiming that he wants him out of there, wants to cut him or whatever the case may be. Or it seemed like it's turmoil between him and the ownership or whatever. So at this point, I guess you just have to move on from him. If you don't want him there, you got to move on from him. But just know that if you decide to move on, this is going to totally reset this franchise back another 4 to 5 years possibly, because you're probably gonna lose Devontae Adams. What I'm saying? Thank God you still got Garrett Wilson. You're gonna have to lock him up. You're probably gonna lose Quinn Williams, some of those guys over on the defensive side of the ball that have been there. They're probably gonna want to get out of there. Some of those guys are gonna want to get traded, some of them are gonna want to leave a free agency. Like you said, this is a totally failed experiment here. I do agree with you. I feel like it may not have gone this way had he not gotten hurt last year. But the fact that he got hurt last year, it just kind of really trickled all the way down from there. We still had expectations this year, hoping that he would, be able to return to some level of form that would be serviceable with a great defense. But we didn't get neither. We didn't get the great defense, and we didn't get a serviceable Aaron Rodgers. Call me an apologist if you want to. I feel like the offensive line has not done any justice. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the Jets have the worst offensive line in fucking football outside of the fucking Dallas Cowboys
I
with a
second that.
41-year-old quarterback. And it's hard to win with a 41-year-old quarterback when you can't keep him upright, keep him in a clean pocket to throw the fucking ball. So, that I'm not gonna blame on Aaron, but I'm not gonna absolve him. He has been subpar at best. And I really don't know where you go from here because, like, if you move on from him, what are you going to do next year? This is, what I'm saying, what rookie are you eyeing? Are you going to try to make a trade in the free agency? He says he wants to play next year, so you know what I'm saying. Do you going to try to move him? Like, I really don't know. So I just say fuck it and let the Jets figure it out. But get my guy up out of there because it stinks.
Yeah. Um,
I said he
man,
should have went to Pittsburgh anyway. God damn it.
hell no.
Glad he didn't.
Nah, that would have been bad. That he would have definitely
Mike,
ruined
Mike, look,
Mike
Mike
Tomlin's
only,
career.
Mike only saying that. Mike is only saying that because of how shit has played out right now. If Aaron Rodgers goes to Pittsburgh last year instead of the Jets, mind you, this is not the first year. So we have to talk about this in the reality of which it is. This is the second year. He got hurt last year. If he goes to Pittsburgh with a comparable offensive line, I don't think he gets hurt. And I think Pittsburgh looks damn good as they look good right now with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields in the beginning of the season. So, what I'm saying? I like I said, personally, last year I said he should have went to Pittsburgh anyway.
Go ahead, Raj.
Yeah, man. All right, let me just say this. I just don't know where or what direction the Jets are going. And this is the first time in my life I ever felt like that with the Jets because normally there's always something to look forward to. Like there's a free agent or there's a draft pick or there's something. There's no direction with this team. And it just makes me sick because we wasted 2 years, 2 seasons on a 40 plus year old quarterback. Now, I'm not saying that the injury is his fault. I'm not saying that because injuries happen. But the Jets didn't do anything to protect him. They didn't do anything to keep the core that was necessary for him to win. Like you said, offensive line is trash. Their defense gave up a lot of games. It's just like I'm looking at the team and I'm like, they just look depleted. They just look like they just don't want to play football anymore. And then like how he's utilizing Devontae Adams is like it's just like he don't even exist. Like the man is not really Devontae playing with the Jets right now. And it's just sad because now these rumors come out on a bye week. On a bye week. This is what pisses me off. When you're trying to get a team back into some type of form, you try to stay quiet during your bye week and figure stuff out how you're going to win the rest of the time that you got for regular season. This team didn't even want to even do that. They put out crazy rumors saying that we don't want Aaron Rodgers to play. We're going to bench him. We're going to sit him out for the rest of the season, or we're going to figure out how to get rid of him. Regardless of if it's a rumor, the truth or not, it's still affecting the locker room. And now Devontae Adams looked like he's like, all right, what am I going to do now? He's not going to stay with the Jets. And Aaron Rodgers not going to be there next season. We already know that. So it's like, what are we going to do for the next 3 to 5 seasons from now? Like, we don't even have a quarterback we're working on. That's the sad
That's what I'm
part. Like,
saying.
there's nothing. We have nothing. We got Tyrod Taylor. And Tyrod Taylor, I love Tyrod. I'm not going to sit here in front and be like, oh, I don't want to see him play. I love the way he plays. But the problem is he's always hurt. He like
Tyrod
weird
Taylor
injuries.
is a solid career backup.
Exactly. Thank you. And that's exactly what he is. And I'm not trying to put no more pressure on him to be more than that. And it's like now we don't have nobody. Like I don't even think we even have our rights to our draft, our first round. So I don't know, man. I'm just really disgusted with this organization. I'm not watching any more games. I might score watch, but I'm not sitting down on the couch watching a Jets game. There's no point. I'm really upset because the owner didn't have to come out and say that. Like he didn't officially say it, but whatever the rumor is, just ruined the whole entire locker room, man. I'm just really pissed off.
I think this is one of them things where Woody Johnson is irritated and he's frustrated because he didn't get his return on his investment that he thought he was gonna get. So now he's doing the bitch ass thing that bitch ass billionaires do, and
Yeah,
he's causing a ruckus in order to break it all apart and tear it down.
this is
When
crazy.
you know what I'm saying? So again, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Aaron Rodgers and Devontae end up somewhere together next year.
Oh
You know,
yeah,
'cause they seem like they, I hate to say it, seem like some fucking butt buddies or some shit. So
oh come
the
on.
way they
Oh.
act. So I just can't get over the fucking the whole little on Pat McAfee.
I know he was gonna
Oh,
say
who is that? Who
you
is
in the
that? Who is
background like that. He's in the background.
that? And I love Devontae and A-Rod, don't get me wrong, because I'm a Packer guy. So these are two Packers, two home drafted Packers. And it's like, man, y'all leave off. And I had high hopes for you going to New York. And then we brought Devontae in too. So I'm like, okay, finally, we got
Yeah,
Devontae back. So things should turn around. And the way this shit has went.
it just went left,
But then
bro.
look, this is an interesting question I got for y'all. And I know I got to pick my son up from basketball practice. He called me, and I know Mike got to get ready for honest hour, so I don't want to throw us off too much. But
Are
Yeah.
you good?
I do have an interesting question, though.
Mhm.
Where do y'all think would be a good fit for Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams to end up if they want to be a tandem again next year somewhere else? Because it seems like if he gets cut or whatever, and Devontae already has an option to opt out and become a free agent at the end of this season, you got to think that they're probably going to try to run it back somewhere else again together. Where could you see them possibly being a good fit or possibly trying to go together?
You go first, Mike. I got my team, but you go
Well,
first.
the first question you have to ask is who needs a quarterback, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Because if the team don't need a quarterback, there's really nowhere to go. They're like Adams could go anywhere. He's a receiver, right? Like, but
Mhm.
that's the thing. But the other thing is you have to go to a team that is built or has the potential to be built around in order to make something happen. Um,
Mhm.
for me, there's and I would hate this personally, but the only team that I can think of offhand without really putting any thought or deep divulge who's in crisis, who has most of the tools to really make the noise, they just don't have the quarterback, is Cleveland.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because like I said, like I could have picked the Giants, right? But Giants they have a worse, just as bad offensive line as the Jets, if not
They're,
worse.
they're the Jets. They're the same team.
Know, who else is really out there, right? Like I'm just trying to think.
I like Cleveland. I like your Cleveland pick, Mike. That's actually a damn good pick. The
I
only
got a
thing
team.
I will say about Cleveland is that in order for it to be potential for it to work, they would have to rebuild that offensive line too, because we're already seeing what he looks like without an offensive line. And
Mhm.
if a young Deshaun Watson, whether he done fallen off the map or not, he still got legs as a young Deshaun Watson. Can't survive with that horrendous offensive line. then the 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers ain't gonna survive behind that motherfucker either.
Right. You have to put the pieces together, but I would think, like you got the defense is pretty good.
Yeah,
They were a
yeah.
top defense last year. Like they're a little like subpar this year compared to last year.
I
But
think they gave up.
I got a
yeah,
team. I got two teams, but it depends on what the expectations are.
yeah. I mean that too. But like I just based mine really off of they ain't gonna want to go nowhere where the team
They
like
can't
pretty much
contend.
where they wouldn't be able to elevate and help them win, right? Like like I said, like the Giants have Malik Neighbors, but other than that, who's there? You know, um, you
Yeah,
know, the Raiders are obviously another team in there, but he ain't gonna want to go back
I don't
there,
see Devontae going back to the Raiders.
No, he's
right?
not going to do that.
Like but go ahead. Who are your teams?
So, like I said, it depends on pretty much like what the expectations are for these two guys. Like, do they want to win a Super Bowl or do they just want to make the playoffs? Like, but if you're saying just make the playoffs, I'm not ruling this out because I think they're sick and tired of him. But I'm going to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars as the first team. The reason I'm saying it
Hmm.
is because I feel like they're really technically just a quarterback away from making the playoffs. Like that division isn't really scary. Like they got teams like the Texans and the Colts ahead of the division, but they can
Mhm.
find a way to get some wins in there and get like to a reasonable record to get to the playoffs and become a division team. The second team, I will have to say, and I really don't want to see this, but see him in the Saints uniform. And the reason I'm saying that is because of the defense. The defense is still respectable with the Saints, and they're
Mhm.
just a wide receiver away and a quarterback away from making the playoffs. So if
Chris
their
Olave is
expectation,
still there.
yeah, like
Alvin
they still,
Kamara still playing solid football.
yep, they got
Yeah.
everything. It's a plug and play type situation. Now I don't know if that's going to happen because it would take a lot of pieces to move around, but they don't really have a quarterback. They got Derek Carr, and Derek Carr is always broke down. So it's a matter
And
of
even
just
when
moving.
he's healthy, he's just okay.
Yeah, he's an okay
He's an
quarterback.
okay quarterback.
Yeah, and Devontae get to play with two of his friends.
You say we might get another Pat McAfee where Derek Carr sitting there like, then you get one guy coming in from this side, then you get Aaron coming in.
Yo, they do that. It's official. They are, they're buddies. I'll say that. It's
What
official.
kind of homo blackest beauty Tyler Perry bullshit is this? Fuck out of here.
Oh man, I'm trying not to get canceled, but that's what it looks like. Oh, that looks so. If they do that, then you're right. I agree with your statement. I totally agree. I don't need evidence. I got that video with the two of them coming
Yeah.
in. Come on, stop that. Stop doing that.
I wish my football was in here. I would have had it.
Oh, that was so
Tossing
weird.
it up
That
like
was so weird. Oh, that was so weird. You were 100% right. That was weird. I felt that was cringeworthy as a mug. All right.
I got about 10 minutes here before I got live
Yeah.
off. And the other day, R&B asked us if we wanted to have you said an NBA GOAT discussion
Okay.
of some. What did you want the basis of that discussion to be?
I just wanted to kind of just have like a little discussion. I wanted to know, kind of who y'all goats are, like who do y'all feel the goat is, who is your goat, reasons why, just a little NBA talk, that's all. Because the NBA season is it's upon us and
Oh
it's
yeah.
I must say, man, it's I like the way my young Pistons looking right now. The NBA Cup games have been great. In every NBA Cup game I've seen on TV thus far has been a damn good game. So, and I wasn't much of a fan of that shit, to be honest with you, when they started bringing it in last year. But I must say that it has brought more of a competitiveness to the early part of the NBA season, where we normally don't pay attention until closer to Christmas. You know, when the NFL is on the wind down, but I've been watching a lot of these games late night on NBA TV and TNT and ESPN, partly on TNT because I know this is the last year for inside the NBA on TNT before they move next year. But I just kind of was thinking about it the other day. When I shared that one video where the guy was talking about like Kobe stats and stuff, because y'all know I'm a Kobe guy, so I just was kind of wondering like who your goatee is, and what is your criteria for GOAT, just normal GOAT shit, GOAT debate type shit.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the basis of the greatest player of all time, just like music is subjective, so are sports, right? For me, Michael Jordan. It's just I look at in a great player, transcendence, right? Success, awards. But Michael Jordan was, in a sense, during the '90s, unstoppable. Like I give due because like there are people out there who they don't even acknowledge like he lost in the first round multiple times. They don't acknowledge that he couldn't beat Bird or Magic in the '80s. They don't acknowledge that portion. They just
How
know,
dare you be so disrespectful?
right? They just acknowledge.
No. I'm talking to you, Mike. How dare you be that disrespectful?
What are you talking about?
Rob's already know where I'm going at. How dare you sit up and say he couldn't beat Bird or Magic in the '80s? God damn it, he couldn't beat Detroit. That's who he couldn't beat. He couldn't beat Isaiah.
Exactly.
You better put some respect on Zeke's name.
He had to go to the gym. He had to go back to the lab.
I think Zeke swept him 4 times.
Yeah, it was bad. You couldn't beat Detroit for shit.
But that was a different game.
No, it wasn't.
People,
you're
gonna sit here and tell me the way the game is played now was the same way it was played then? No, it was not.
No. What I'm telling you is that I'm telling you that him losing in the '80s was the same game as him losing to Isaiah in the '80s. If the '80s was the '80s, that's what I'm saying. Are we saying two different things here? Like what, I'm trying to figure out where.
I think we're in two different zones here. We're not on the same.
So all right, let me get into your zone. I'm coming into your zone to basically say, don't mention him not being able to beat Bird and Magic without bringing up Isaiah Thomas because he couldn't beat Isaiah Thomas.
I wouldn't say it was all Thomas as much as all the other players on the team. Those Detroit teams are more talented than his teams in the 80s.
Oh, come on, man. Those deep-ass Boston and Laker teams, them Boston and Laker teams was deep. They, if you really want to know the truth, and I'm not saying
take Boston and the Lakers out. We're talking about the Bulls and the Pistons. The Pistons teams were deeper than the Bulls teams in the 80s. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they were. They were more of a complete team, I would agree.
It wasn't until the 90s when he got Pippen.
Yeah.
Pippen that really changed the flow of the game for him. It made it easier for him.
Pippen got swept too. Pippen was there for those sweeps.
But the point I'm getting to was that, like I was saying, is that people don't acknowledge those losses. People, as a fan of Jordan, don't acknowledge that he wasn't always that player. Yeah, he did phenomenal things in the 80s, but he didn't win in the 80s. He didn't win till the 90s, is what I'm saying.
He didn't win championships, but I think he was the same phenomenal player in the 80s as he was in the 90s. I would argue that he was probably better in the 80s than he was in the 90s. He just didn't have a complete team, and he was younger. You know, that's just a part of sport, especially in the sport of basketball. When you're a phenomenon like him, LeBron, and some of the other ones or whatever, you go through a growing process. It's not too many of them that come in and win immediate like Magic Johnson and Tim Duncan. And I'm not gonna put an asterisk on Magic or Tim, but those were two hella great situations to come into and win. Hella
Yeah,
great situations.
Real quick, because I know we got like 3 minutes. Like, obviously, when we talk about the GOATs, we always mention Michael Jordan. Like, we pretty much in the same era. But I will say this: the way that I do it is I look at it as being like my Rushmore of Mount Rushmore of GOATs. So real
Raj
quick,
was Rajmore.
I'm gonna give you mine.
Mhm.
We got point guard Magic Johnson. Shooting guard it's gotta be Mike. Small forward LeBron. Power forward. I had to really think about this, but I didn't really like his game, but I gotta respect him. It's Duncan. And center. Now you guys not expecting this, but he low key is about to be the GOAT for real, for real. If he win another MVP, which I got him winning the MVP, Nikola Jokic. He's the best center we ever seen in our life.
ever.
Ever. If he gets 4 MVPs, Mike, if he gets 4 MVPs, I don't want to hear from nobody. He's the best center ever. Better than
You
Shaq.
know, you sounded like a culmination of Skip Bayless and Max Kellerman made a baby right now. You know that, right?
Hey, look, and Mad Dog is the grandfather.
Oh God, he's just atrocious. Oh my God.
Oh, but guys, can
Ever?
we agree 4 MVPs and a championship? Come on now,
Ever?
ever.
You're pushing.
So what
I'm
about
not
what about
giving him.
Shaq's?
I'm not.
What
I'm
about
not
Shaq's
giving.
4 championships
would.
and 4 finals MVPs?
I would not put. I don't put Shaq or Jokic over Kareem. That's asinine.
Hear me out. He does everything. What does Jokic do that Kareem didn't do? What does Kareem do that Jokic didn't do?
Play defense.
He
Have the
plays
most
defense.
unstoppable, unguardable shot that couldn't be stopped, and he did it the same way, and you knew when and how he was going to do it. You just took it.
You just
Like,
sat up here with us.
Okay, and
You
that's
just
fair.
sat up here and literally said that Nikola Jokic plays defense.
He plays
Okay.
defense.
no, he
He
doesn't.
might. He plays defense. He might not be as a defensive impactor like
Rebounding is
Kareem,
not defense.
huh?
Rebounding is not defense.
Why not?
It's 7:50. I think I'm done with this conversation.
We gotta pick up on this. We gotta pick up on this topic.
You have to be a topic. We gotta start with this next Monday, Mike.
Yeah, next Monday we start with this. I'm gonna give you my. And I'm gonna come up with a list of reasons why Nikola Jokic is the greatest center we ever seen, and it's gonna be crazy.
So all right. So
Ever
next
seen?
Monday.
Oh,
Next Monday we'll start. We'll
Next
start
Monday.
with we'll start with this because this
Yep.
this seems like it's gonna get really out of pocket.
I'm gonna have a lot of people. You know what? I'm gonna have a lot of people agreeing with me at the end though, because they're gonna be like, "Oh shoot, I didn't think of it like that." Yep.
no, I can't put him as the best. He's making a strong case for making himself. I'll give you this. He's definitely making a strong case for being one of the greatest big men that we've ever seen. Period. Of you know what I'm saying, one of, but I can't say the greatest.
So what? Okay. So what would make him the greatest?
For one, I would like to see him be more of a defender, more
Okay.
of a shot blocking defender as a big, and which is probably a little bit of a detriment of the era he's playing in. And I'd
Mhm.
also he needs to win more championships.
All right.
You got to bring home more championships.
Okay. All right. We'll pick up on it next week
We're
because
gonna
I
pick
Because
got
up.
a lot. I got a
real
lot to say.
real quick, I remember what he looked like when Jamal Murray was hurt. He was just a first round get pop. When Jamal Murray was hurt, he was first round go home. They didn't win until Jamal Murray was able to stay healthy.
Mm, I gotta look into that. I mean, I do remember it, but I gotta look into the
Go look
stat.
into it.
I
Go
gotta
look
look
into
into
it.
it. But so next week we got something to talk about for the NBA.
For sure, for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's gonna be a good one.
Mm.
Always good. Next week we'll be back here to argue about this debate and so much more. So thank you, everyone. And guess what? We'll see you guys next week.
Peace.
Peace.
Deuces.